Hello everyone, I am Ghulam Abbas. I hope you guys are fine and doing great. Let me guide you how to set a static IP address in Windows 11. Actually, there are four methods that you can use: CMD, PowerShell, Control Panel, and Settings. You can use any of them that you are comfortable with. So let's go ahead and start with the CMD. The first step is to launch CMD. Search for CMD on the taskbar and run it as administrator. And then for the second step, you have to find the current details of your internet. So I have to make it the font a bit bigger so you can see. Okay, type ipconfig /all. It's going to show every detail of the internet regarding to your computer. Okay, so basically my computer has a lot of adapter at the moment because of the virtual machines too and the Wi-Fi. Yeah, basically there are six adapters. So here, as you can see, there's the virtual box, which I am not looking at. That there's also the LAN. There is the again the LAN local area network, and there is the Ethernet adapter, which is currently connected through the Ethernet cable. So this is the one that I want to configure. So you have the first step is to find the Ethernet adapter. So this will be the Ethernet, and then for the second step you can find out here the details such as the IP address and then the subnet mask. Aside from that one, you have to find out the default gateway and the DNS server. So you have to remember them, that are they are really necessary. So let's put them into a notepad so we can see what are. We have to simply copy them because they are required for us. So this is the current IP of the computer that I have gotten through the uh, router, and the subnet mask. There is the default gateway 192.168.10.1, and then there is also the finally the DHCP server, which is not required at the moment, but yeah, that's not required. So basically these are the necessary information that we have gathered up until now. So once it is done, for the second step, I have to clean it. CLS, sorry. For the second step, you have to open this article. So basically everything is explained in terms in article mode rather than the uh, okay. So the first step is to set a new IP address. So basically you can see this is the first command which I have inserted here. So here you can see that it's going to set the new IP address. The adapter name is called Ethernet, and the static IP address is by default 192.168.10.11. That is the default IP address, and the subnet mask and the default gateway. So I'm going to change the 192.168.10.11 to how about 12. Let's start with that one. So just simply copy the command, now paste it into the CMD. So that has been set. Okay, for the next step you have to basically execute the second command, which is about setting up the DNS server that is required. So what do I mean by setting up DNS server? So let's just simply type ping google.com. Okay, for now it's pinging, but most of the time when you execute the first command, it's not going to work for some reason. But right now it is working, so you are not facing any trouble. It means the DNS server is totally fine. In case the DNS server does not work, you have to execute the second command, which is by default is going to set the 192.168 as the default gateway. So that is really required. And if you want to set up an additional DNS server, then for now you can use the public DNS servers that are available on the internet. So for now I'll be using these one, the last option. So you can just simply, sorry, not that one, the command has not been copied from here, copy, and now execute that into the here. So at the moment you can see these are the details. So everything has been set up. Again, if I have to go ahead and CLS, and I have to type ipconfig /all, and now press enter. Let's go ahead and check the Ethernet adapter details. So where is the Ethernet adapter details? Bluetooth, there is the wireless, VMware, again VMware. Here is the Ethernet adapter. So for now here you can see that The IP address is 192.168.10.12. The subnet is again the same. The default gateway is okay. And here you can see that a DNS server has been that is the same, but an additional DNS server has also been added. That is the Google @@@@@@@. So this is basically how you can set a static IP address using the CMD. So basically these are the commands that you must get from wikigan.com. I will link its article into the description. So for the next step, let's go ahead and use the PowerShell. That is the second method that you can use to configure the static IP address. So if you are preferring using PowerShell, then you have to launch PowerShell first. So let's go ahead and launch PowerShell. I need as administrator, that is required. Okay, for the first step, you have to find the current information of the internet. Okay, I have to make it a bit bigger so you can see what's going on. 24 will be fine. Yeah. Okay, for the first step, you have to basically see the current network settings. So basically, you have to copy the command and then execute it on the terminal. Basically, the first command is this one. You can get net IP configuration. This is going to show the details just like the ipconfig/all. You can also execute that command here, but it's PowerShell, so we have to increase our knowledge. So basically, here is the Ethernet adapter. There is the VMware, here is the Ethernet, and there's the VirtualBox. So at the moment, you can see that the Wi-Fi name is PTCL. The default IP address is 192.168.10.12, which we set earlier. There is no default IP address, sorry, IPv6 default gateway, and there is the 192.168 as a default gateway, and the DNS server that you can see that is available. So let's go ahead. For now, I have to clean this up and then start executing the other commands. So for the next step, you have to basically execute this command to set a new IP address. So basically, you can see that there is the net. I think this command is going to give an error. Let's execute it. Okay, it is giving an error because the current default gateway already exists. So here you can see that basically this is the new IP address going to set a new IP address. Oh, one more thing I forgot. So I'm really sorry. The interface face index, that is really important aside from the information. Yeah, so you can see that here is the Ethernet and there is the internet face index that is required to. You have to remember and make sure aside from the IPv4, the default gateway and the DNS server, you have to remember the interface index too. That is required. At the moment, since I have written this article myself, that's why every command I have pasted there is totally working fine. So you have to bring changes into them depending on what PowerShell is showing to your network configuration. So as I said, as I was earlier here, as I was saying that it is saying giving the error of the default gateway already exists, which is totally true because it is already configured earlier. So if you want to set a new IP address, basically you have to remove the default gateway from here and then execute the command is going to work. But if you are running the PowerShell for the first time, then you have to execute the first command, which is giving an error right now. So you can see that the command has been executed. The new IP address is 192.168.10.15. So that is the new IP address. And do not forget to bring insert your information depending from basically the network configuration that you have, the PowerShell has provided to you. Okay. Also, if you want to set a new DNS server client, then you have to come and execute this command. The same thing goes for the additional command too. So you have to simply I have to copy the command again. So that is executed, and then you can also configure or add the new command. So basically these are additional settings that you can do on your own. So I hope you have learned this method too. So let's go ahead into the graphical user interface method, which is quite easy. So let's start with the old method, that is the okay, first, yeah, control panel. So press Windows or on the keyboard. It is going to open the run dialog box. You have to type ncpa.cpl and then press enter. So you can see that basically it's going to open the network connections, and at the moment you can see that all the adapters that are available currently to the computer. So I want to configure the Ethernet port, not the Wi-Fi, only the Ethernet port. So if I have to right click on it and choose status, go to the details. So by default it's showing the previous information that we got earlier from, yeah, it's showing the previous information that we set through the PowerShell. So for now, if you want to configure your own settings, so you have to again go to the status, click properties, go to the IPv4 Internet Protocol version 4, and now from here you have to set your own IP address manually. So there is no need to add. Okay, from here you can set it to maybe 20. Everything else is totally fine. You can use the preferred DNS servers too, which that's if you want. If you don't want this, you can ignore them. Now click OK. You see, now it has been connected. So let's go ahead and check it out if the internet is working or not. Simply open cmd and type. So it is working totally. So everything is set. Go from here. That is the old method version, which is still available, and it is not time consuming at all. Mostly when I am in the past, when I used to connect Windows to the Windows Server, basically I was bringing the Windows 10. Basically I was booting Windows 11 through the network upon the Windows Server. I was always setting the settings from these here, from here, not using the CMD or PowerShell. So it's up to you. You can configure the way you want it. So for now, let's go ahead and cancel it. Okay, for the final step, that is the settings. So open the settings of your Windows 11 and then go to the network and internet. Go to the Ethernet section, and now from here, so let me, by default it will be like this. So if you go to the edit IP address, it will be automatic. So by default it will show like this. It means there are your computer is getting the default IP address from the internet. So sorry, from the router. It means there are no, you have not brought any changes to it at all. So if you want to bring your own changes, basically it will look like this. So click on the Ethernet, and now from here you have to select edit IP. Under IP assignment, click on the edit. And now from here, instead of automatic, you have to click on manual. Turn on IPv4, IP version 4, and now enter your own IP address. So you have to choose the IP address that the router is providing to you. So 192.168 dot 10 dot how about 30. And then the subnet mask you have to insert to. For this, you have to basically check the router configuration that is required, and then the default gateway is 192.168, and then aside from that there is 168.0.1. And then if you want to add a preferred DNS, you can go ahead and add that too. For now, let's go ahead dot add dot again add, and finally that one. And I'm also going to encrypt it. If you want it, just go ahead, encrypt it, and you can also add an alternative DNS to the computer too. And now after that one, you have to click on the save, and everything will be saved, and you are good to go. So this is basically how you can set a static IP address in Windows 11. I hope you have liked this video, and hit a thumbs up, and goodbye. Have a nice day.